Lakers inbounding, down by 2. Aycock gives it back to McClung. Got to the mid-range, fires and ties it! Back McClung out here about his business.
With the play we just saw, Mac McClung popped back up on everybody's radar, as there was a time where Mac was an absolute mixtape legend. In high school, Mac more than turned heads with his jaw-dropping athleticism, and then in college, he averaged over 15 points per game in both his sophomore and junior seasons. On top of this, last year he was also the leading scorer for a consensus top 25 team in the nation, and now playing for the Los Angeles Lakers in the Summer League, Mac has continued to build up hype, but this time in a different way. Because as you were about to see, Mac has continued to evolve his game to become a legitimate NBA prospect and a man that the Lakers think could be the steal of the 2021 NBA draft. But with that said, Mac did go undrafted, which gives us a question. Why did scouts ignore him, and why are the Lakers and Lakers fans so high on him right now? So what's up guys, Mike here, and as you just saw, Mac McClung has officially arrived on the NBA scene, and that's what we're talking about today. Mac's journey from high school to college, and now his outlook as a future NBA player. And before we get into this guys, I do want to say please subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Now as for Mac McClung, I know it's just the Summer League, but already after going undrafted, Mac has played well enough to secure a contract by the Los Angeles Lakers, which means we're about to see, can he go from undrafted to an NBA role player, or possibly even more? There is actually a lot of evidence in his game right now that suggests that he can, and from what I've been reading about him, the Lakers, obviously after offering him a contract, are extremely high on him as well, and do believe that he can develop into a legitimate player. So with all of that said, let's just start right away with Mac's raw athleticism to give us an idea of just how incredible of an athlete he is. Because while Mac does stand at just 6'2", his vertical leap is off the charts, as according to ESPN, at the G League Elite Camp, Mac had a vertical of 43.5 inches, which would be the 7th highest in NBA draft combine history. He's also not just a great jumper, the man is a blur on the court as well, as referenced by his 3-court quarter sprint time. Mac ran the 3-quarter court sprint in 2.94 seconds, which was the fastest time produced by a prospect since 2001. So as we've just seen with the insane highlights he's produced countless times, Mac is an athletic freak, which is going to help him of course with his career going forward. But with that in mind, Mac has been this athletic since high school, and he was not a 5-star recruit, he was not drafted. So what's the deal here? Well, for one thing, I do feel like the mixtape legend status of Mac actually went against him when it came to scouts seeing him as a legitimate NBA prospect. Because in college, Mac's numbers were certainly solid for someone who has as much athletic potential as him. Last year, again, he played on a top 25 team, and again, he was the leading scorer with 15.5 points per game. He also showed a lot of improvement from the 3-point line, as he shot around 34% from 3 last year, compared to just 28% from 3 as a freshman on about the same volume. And overall, Mac has definitely looked like the type of player who deserves at least some draft consideration. However, he was not on ESPN's top 100 prospects, and many scouts thought it was a complete surprise that Mac did decide to declare for the draft this season. However, Mac himself decided that this was the time. Even though the 2021 draft was loaded with talent, he declared and bet on himself, and now we're gonna see if it pays off. And it is here where I do want to say it's very important to remember that in terms of being a draft steal, all Mac McClung needs to become a draft steal is to become a rotation player in the next few years, and then boom, the Lakers will have a real steal on their hands. And if he becomes anything better than that, then yeah, he could easily become the steal of this draft. And we could dive more into his high school and college games, but really the most important thing to look at here is Mac's Summer League games. Now in 4 games, we'll get to the stats as we have a player comparison you might see coming, but in his games, the most important thing to me is the way Mac is acting on the court. As you could tell in his time in college, Mac developed each and every season and became a better player, which is huge going forward. It shows us that he has the work ethic and drive to succeed at the highest level, and that's not not always the case for a lot of these prospects. Mac is going to put in the time and the effort to get the most possible out of his talents, and that is something that the Lakers love. They see his work ethic and they know that he is not close to becoming the player he can become. On top of this, Mac is also playing like he should, like absolutely nothing is owed to him. He's diving on the floor for loose balls. He's hustling his ass off. He's everywhere on the court, and overall, he's making his presence known in a way that is far different than he usually has in the past. Because before the Summer League, I would say that Mac has been known as basically a pure scorer who hasn't really affected the game in many other ways, other than, of course, his athleticism. However, you can see Mac has certainly been humbled by his college experience and the lack of interest NBA scouts have shown in him. And I don't mean that as a dig in any way. Every time I've ever seen Mac in any type of video, I've seen a humble kid. I just mean that after NBA scouts completely blow you off, it is more than normal to develop a chip on your shoulder, and that is what Mac has right now. He isn't taking anything for granted. He's putting his body on the line all of the time in order to make this roster, and that's going to serve him extremely well going forward. That is the reason that the Lakers have already signed Mac to an undisclosed contract after his Summer League performance, as even though he will probably spend a good portion of this year in the G League, I think, if and when he is with the actual Lakers roster, which will definitely include training camp, he's going to be able to learn a ton, as he already has the past 2 summers working with a great NBA trainer in Drew Hanlon, and together the two of them have not only worked on Mac's shot, but they've also worked on his pick and roll game. Being able to run the point guard position more efficiently for Mac will be a big thing as his career progresses, and it's nice to see that he's already putting in the work there. And so when it comes to how Mac could possibly fit in with the Los Angeles Lakers, a great comparison for Mac McClung in a lot of ways is Alex Caruso, and it's not because they are both balding. That is just a coincidence. Just kidding, of course, Mac. Anyway, I'd say they are a great comparison in terms of potential career trajectory, because while the two do share different skills on the court, Mac is more of an on-the-ball player, while Caruso has always played more off the ball. I think Alex Caruso's path to becoming the player he is today should really give both Mac and fans of Mac a lot of optimism. Remember, when Alex Caruso joined the Lakers Summer League roster, he had basically no hype at all, and there was a very good reason for that. In college, Caruso averaged just 8.1 points and 5 assists per game in his senior season, and when he got his first taste of NBA competition, to put this bluntly, he was horrible. As in the 2017 Summer League, Caruso played for the 76ers, and in that summer, he averaged just 2.4 points per game and shot 27% in 14.6 minutes per game in 5 games played. You would have thought at this point in time that Alex Caruso would never reach the NBA, but just like I think Mac McClung is, Alex Caruso was and is resilient. That is what stands out to me in both a young Alex Caruso and now Mac McClung. Both of them are the type of high energy, leave everything on the court players that just make plays happen and that teams want on their roster. There's a reason why the Chicago Bulls signed Alex Caruso to a pretty big contract this offseason. He is a leader, he is a man who never stops hustling, and he is a solid defensive player. Mac certainly has all of the athleticism in the world. He has the ability to become a solid defensive player, especially if he continues to play the way he's been playing. So again, while I don't think both Mac and Alex Caruso's games are exactly the same, I think in terms of the hustle aspect here and in terms of the having a chip on your shoulder aspect here, there are a lot of comparisons that can be drawn. Mac has never given up on his dreams. He worked tirelessly and came into the Lakers Summer League as a much improved player, and it's shown. But still, even though he has passed the eye test and quickly become a fan favorite, again, Mac's overall numbers were not exactly amazing. And headed back to Caruso, this was a man who never gave up on his dreams. He worked tirelessly and came onto the Lakers Summer League roster as a much improved player after playing with the 76ers the year before, and it showed. But still, even though Caruso definitely passed the eye test and quickly became a fan favorite, again, his overall numbers were not exactly amazing. As in the 2018 Summer League, Caruso averaged 7.4 points per game, 3.9 assists per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, and shot 43% from the floor. That was in his second go around in the Summer League, and what's important about those stats is that when we compare them to Mac, we find that Mac's numbers are very similar. In 4 games in the Summer League so far, Mac has put up 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.3 assists per game, and let's just be honest here, his shooting has not been great as he shot around 29% from the field, but again, when we look at a guy like Alex Caruso, we see that his Summer League stats were horrible in his first season, and then in his second season with the Lakers, they were still just average. The Lakers see a lot of potential in Mac, and they love the fact that they are getting a young talent to either fill out their roster and learn from the vets this season, or they could be getting a player who develops in the G League with a ton of playing time given to him. And I will always say, when you combine God-given talent like Mac's athleticism with a relentless work ethic that he's been showing, great things usually tend to happen. And as we've already seen, Mac was already signed by the Lakers to a contract, so that is a huge step going forward for him as an undrafted player. From here on out, we will see what Mac is able to do. I am certainly excited to watch the rest of his career. I've been watching him since he was in high school. I am certainly rooting for Mac. So there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, please subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. And if you haven't already, please leave this video a like. It helps me out a ton with YouTube's algorithm. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day, and cue that music. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.